Check it out. We got a fruity, effeminate attorney on here making a comment. This guy's a divorce attorney and he does collection and something else. So, most people who get into family law that are attorneys, well, let's just take a look at his comment. He says, sounds like you got burned. Obviously, he's a stupid jackass who can't read or pay attention. I got full custody of my daughter when she was 7 months old. I fought off bogus attempts at restraining orders with the mother. And then I'm doing a video saying, why would you want an attorney if thousands and thousands of people have won without an attorney? You know, the American Bar Association did a poll asking people when they represented themselves how satisfied they were, and it's over 70% of people representing themselves, and half the people who represent themselves don't even do half the stuff right. Look at what this stupid jackass, little man disease, punk ass bitch, fruity gay boy said on here. And think about this. Most attorneys don't practice family law. Think family law attorneys are dysfunctional, lazy bum, ghetto, Mickey Mouse. They're practicing a Mickey Mouse form of law. And this guy says, that's about it, though. It's hard to take these videos seriously. Nobody gives a shit whether a corrupt piece of shit like you, a subhuman piece of garbage who's trafficking children for money and destroying children for money, nobody gives a shit what your punk-ass, little man disease, bitch-ass hoe, opinion is of my videos. There's dads going to court destroying your kind, your people. And most attorneys are some prissy little bitches who grew up with a golden spoon. Sometimes it's people who scratch clawed, but everybody I know that was a good person that became an attorney got sick of family law because it's so dysfunctional. The fact that this guy sits in and thrives in family court proves what a subhuman piece of shit, narcissistic sociopath he is. And he says, on the one hand, some lawyers do steal. Some. Every single one of you out there who's had a family law attorney, how many of you think your attorney didn't rip you off, overcharge you? The average attorney nowadays is $400 an hour. To do what? Come on board and tell you can't get this and you can't get that and you can't fight for that. And dads are equal parents, but they can't have 50-50, even though you live 5 blocks away from the mother. You can't do this. I had Goldberg and Jones, the most hyped up father's rights attorney in the Seattle area. They're in San Diego and also Portland. They told me you'll get every other weekend. I went to court and got 5 days a week temporary orders. They told me every other weekend. And I worked at night, and I was working at night because me and the mom had a plan that I would be the child's daycare, or that I would watch the child. We wouldn't put her in daycare. I wasn't the daycare, I'm the dad, but you know what I mean. And the number one father's rights law firm said, you'll probably still get every other weekend. I went to court by myself, barely knowing anything, got 5 days a week. This punk-ass little faggoty bitch. Go watch his videos. Look at what a bitch he is. It's your typical weasel attorney who doesn't know how to practice law, so they do collection law like he does. I can't remember what the other one was, personal injury, I think maybe, which is the easiest one. You write letters and scare somebody, you're going to sue them, you get $100,000. And then he does family law, the fill-in-the-blank law. The area of practice that other attorneys say is totally dysfunctional, and you only practice family law because you can't do real litigation. I've had countless attorneys say that. I had a criminal defense attorney. Oh, he does criminal defense, I guess. I have a criminal defense attorney who said she did family law for a little bit, and then she almost got punched by a family law attorney in the court hallway. She said, that crap is so dysfunctional, I got out of there right away. This presumptuous, feminine diva little bitch, because he doesn't know how to, he's a family law attorney, he doesn't know how to have a civil discussion with me. He makes presumptuous judgments. Those are logical fallacies. You make a presumptuous judgment, you create a straw man, you create fake facts, and then you just start arguing your little fake facts or your presumptuous judgment. This is a feminine, crazy baby mama mentality. No wonder he's a family law attorney. He loves faggoty, feminine, emotional basket case thinking. So he says, on the one hand, some lawyers do steal. Most don't. If you think you can be a tactician, strategist, linguist, or whatever, I show you guys my winning court orders in the Court of Appeals, my custody order, winning contempt against attorneys with 17 and 40 plus years experience. The 40-year experienced attorney that I beat in the Court of Appeals twice, He scares most attorneys in the greater Seattle area. Most of them are scared of him, or they double. I had a guy, I called him up because I was shopping around, and when I went back to court, I hadn't been in court for a year. I was I forgot a lot of stuff. I barely knew what I needed to know early on in my case. I'm shopping around, and because I'm afraid I'm going to have to go to trial when the mother modifies, it's a relocation case. She lived in LA and she objected to me moving from Seattle to Tacoma, which is about 30 minutes. Her attorney, I'm calling around and saying, hey, what would you do in this relocation? I'm trying to do free consults and get free information. This one attorney said, oh, you're facing Don Farrell. I need a $10,000 instead of $5,000 retainer because that guy does stuff to drive up costs. I've talked to other people who said, oh my God, that guy is still practicing law. And I'm like, did you file a bar complaint against him? No, but I figured the next guy would. That guy tried to fight me in the court hallway or do all kinds of crazy stuff. Attorneys were afraid of this guy, and I beat him in the Court of Appeals twice. And this stupid jackass, if you think you can do this, I show you my winning orders. How many dads has this punk ass little bitch, fruity little faggot gotten? How many dads has he got in custody in his family law track record? I bet you he won't tell you. The average family law attorney hasn't even gotten 10 dads custody. I stopped counting several years ago, where I was keeping track of dads who got full custody working with me and not having an attorney, and it was up to 300. And I was actually in a Kroger store near my hometown. I was in Tacoma in a Kroger store. And if any of you know Washington area, is in northeast Tacoma, on the way to Browns Point. I was at this QFC store, Kroger store. Yeah, I think they're a Kroger store. But anyway, I'm in the parking lot, and this lady pulls up next to me, and then she looks at me, and then she comes back in her car. She goes, James, thank you so much. You helped my husband get custody of my stepkids. And I said, oh, yeah, really? When was that? And she said, 8 years ago, you helped. Thank you so much. And I didn't recognize her. Maybe I worked with her. Maybe she came to a consultation with her husband. I said, well, how was it? She goes, oh, it was hell. The guardian lion was crazy. The mom's attorney was crazy. I said, yeah, they're all, and I told her I had a couple guardian lions who were crazy. Had somebody just walk up to me. So there's all kinds of stories that I haven't heard any feedback on. So it could be several hundred more. I've never met an attorney who's helped more than 10 guys get full custody in contested cases. This is your typical attorney. This guy can't even read or pay attention or listen. Because I'm criticizing attorneys and telling people, how come you even want a family law attorney when you can win without one like I did? I'm on this video saying, you can win without an attorney. I show you my winning orders, and he says it sounds like you got burned, first thing out of his mouth. What a low... My sister with Down syndrome has more common sense than this. My sister with Down syndrome can look at somebody talking and make some conclusions, and this guy can't. And you want to hire this guy to be your family law attorney? This guy just proved my case. Low IQ, numbnuts, and if you watch a video, I just watched one video of him, and he looks like a fruity little midget bitch. There you go. Family law attorney commenting on my page. And I got attorneys who love me, and I've done contract paralegal work with. And I worked at McKinley Irvin. If you guys type in McKinley Irvin, McKinley Irvin, Irvin. I worked at that law firm. It's the largest family law only firm in Washington State. And since Seattle is the biggest city, if you go in the middle of the map, there's Minnesota and then Minneapolis. West of Minneapolis, and you go down to San Francisco, and above San Francisco, that whole 1/4 area, the upper 1/4, corner of the United States, not just the Pacific Northwest, but the whole 1/4. If you took United States and divide it into 4 places, you divide it in Mississippi River and go left and go up and down. The upper 1/4 of the United States. This is the biggest family law only firm in that whole region. I worked there. So I saw the inner workings of law firms, and 90% of the people there were incompetent idiots. There were like 3 or 4 out of like 35 attorneys that were aggressive and knew what they were doing, but they usually were aggressive with women. And they would talk off the record of how men get screwed and the system is screwy, but they would never go to court and tell the judge, don't be biased and stuff. Anyway, typical family law attorney trying to criticize me and showing his cards.